Thank you very much, Mr. Davis, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I'd also like to thank my right honourable friend for introducing this subject, because it is an area that I have spent quite a considerable amount of my time specialising in within the constituency. And I'd also like to thank the Minister, who has been incredibly courteous to me over the years in meeting with me and in meeting with schools of all sizes to be able to discuss problems. And I do sincerely put my thanks on the record. One of the things that I've been able to do in specialising in this area is to visit every school in my constituency. And that is over 100 schools, I think, from memory. Which is quite a lot. Now, I haven't done them all in 1 year. I've done that over a number of years, given that we only have Fridays, and the schools are on holiday for quite a lot of the years. But I have done that, and I have visited all of them. There is one school in particular that I would like to mention, which fits in with the subject of this debate, and that is the Europa School in Culham in my constituency. And before I come on to describe that, can I just re-emphasise the point made by my right honourable friend that what we're offering with these free schools is a considerable amount of flexibility for reflecting a particular way in which parents want their children to be taught. And in this case, I think it offers a particular mindset for how to approach this area, which I think we should all bear in mind. The Europa School is the successor to the European School. Now, I'm not going to get into a Brexit debate. In fact, I was at a naval dinner last night where if anyone mentioned the term Brexit, they had to drink a neat rum in large measures, and while I would love that to be the case here, I suspect that is not going to occur. But let me just say that the European School had a very distinguished record. It was set up when there were lots of European parents over to work at the Culham Fusion Centre in Oxford University and at the Harwell Science Centre. And for a number of reasons, the funding of the European School dried up. So the Europa School was started as a successor to that school and has gradually taken over the workings of the European School. The Europa School was set up as a free school. And it was set up as a free school because that is what the parents wanted. And they wanted to continue the particular type of education being offered by the European school through the free school. Now, what that education was a way of approaching subjects in original languages. So it wasn't that you went in and you learnt in French, or you learnt in Spanish, or you learnt in German, or you learnt in English. You went in and you were taught in all of these languages, so that you could end up having history in German. You could end up having geography in Spanish, and so on throughout the complete list of subjects that were there. And I think that is a very valuable way of teaching. Now, the parents wanted that to continue, and that is the system that is being continued in that school. But in order to encapsulate that at the end of the process, they also wanted the children to take the European Baccalaureate. And that offers a very comprehensive system for being able to evaluate people at the roughly the A-level equivalent period that children have to face. Now, I think we need to hold fast on that for what I'm going to say next. Don't forget that this was set up principally initially to deal with the parents of European origin that were in the area. That approach to teaching languages has proved immensely successful. It's proved so successful that we are now in the situation where non-European parents are desperate for their children to be entered into the school, to be taught in that way. And because it's a free school, it is able to offer this way of teaching. Because it's a free school, it is able to say to the parents, we can take your child in. And to be honest, I think it is a superb way of being able to be taught languages. The problem with it comes about because of the European Baccalaureate. And they, as I say, they are desperate to be able to continue to teach that. But there is some difficulty over the ownership of the copyright, if you like, in the European Baccalaureate, and some distinction that is being made as to whether that is in the gift of the European Commission or whether it is something that is in the gift of the Department for Education. And it is an issue that needs to be resolved. And the school, I know, has had some interaction with the Department for Education over this. But it is an important issue because this is a way of teaching that is very special, very special. And people have become not only wedded to this, but have become so attracted to it that it is attracting parents from a wide area. And indeed, earlier in the year, I was able to present a petition from something like 2,500 to 3,000 parents and friends of the school in the House of Commons to be able to try to encourage the government to make sure that the European Baccalaureate continue to be taught there. So I think there is something that is very special about free schools, particularly in what they are able to teach and the way in which they're able to teach it, and that this free school illustrates that above all, which is why I have spent the last few minutes telling you about the Europa School, because I think it is a very good example of how free schools work, how they can take the attitudes of parents and make them a reality, and how they can, in this case, through the European Baccalaureate, continue to be able to offer something that is of enormous benefit to the children. And I think the Minister would agree that there is no issue of quality over the European Baccalaureate. It provides just the same quality that that children would have if they were taking traditional A-levels, and for that reason, I fully support the school.